Well, I've gotten to Kingsmere Lake and it looks pretty intense. I don't know how well you can see all those waves, all the white capping. It looks like a lot. It is quite windy. I was kind of blown over to this beach where I took a stop. So I don't really know what to say here. Okay, welcome back to the channel. I am at the boat launch of Kingsmere Lake. I am in Prince Albert National Park in the dead center of Saskatchewan. I am about to canoe the Bagwa route, plus a little bit more. And honestly, I do not know a huge amount about this. This was a decision made on the fly. It was suggested by one of my subscribers, or potentially an Instagram follower. Follow me on Instagram at @sarjink. And yeah, we're about to canoe the Bagwa route. This is a channel. That is Waskesiu Lake. And then we're going that way up to Kingsmere Lake, do the Bagwa route. So that being said, I'm gonna unload my canoe, get in the water, and let's go.
Well, welcome to Saskatchewan. To catch you all up, I'm on a big summer road trip headed east from BC, and for the first time in my life, I'm now in Saskatchewan. As I mentioned, I'm here canoeing the Bagwa route on a bit of a whim. Frankly, once I left Cold Lake, Alberta, I just drove to the first city that I recognized, Prince Albert. And that's what brought me here to Prince Albert National Park. And honestly, it's pretty sweet.
Okay, so I just pulled up to the first portage. Canoe's out of the water and loaded up, ready to portage. I will note that these are rollers and there's a rail. I guess there are rail carts that, for the record, are on the other end. So I would have had to, if I did not have my cart, which is on wheels, if I didn't have my cart, I'd have to walk to the end of this portage, get a rail car, bring it back, and then portage my canoe. So I'm glad I brought my cart, and I'm going to use my cart. But anyways, I'm at the first portage, so I'm going to portage. That is the moral of this story. Let's go.
This rail portage is one of the really unique features of this canoe route. Historically, these rail portages allowed easy access to Kingsmere Lake, not only for canoes, but also for fishing boats. I believe you can cart a boat with up to a 40 horsepower motor up here. That seems kind of wild to me, but I'm just a guy that likes canoeing. One thing I do want to mention though, is that using a regular canoe cart on the tracks is very easy, and it's a solid alternative to retrieving a cart from the far end of the trail. It just might not give you the full Bagwa experience.
Okay, I'm at the end of the first portage, and if you look here, this is a big old rail cart, and if you squeeze the brake, that's how you are supposed to portage here. Oh, I will say this thing is heavy and hard to move, one-handed with one person. So I honestly think my own cart is easier. But anyways, if you come over here, the entrance to the river, lake, creek, whatever, is kind of steep. So I am actually going to use these rollers to get my canoe down to the water, which will be neat. There's also these carts here, which I guess you put your boat on top and go up and down the rails. Again, I have not used any of these carts. I don't know how good they are. I brought my own, which was fine using it on the cart path. It was a little bumpy at first, but then I kind of moved off to the side and it was totally fine. And ultimately portage is flat, relatively flat, easy, and not that big of a deal. I've said too much. Let's get in the water. Okay, we are back in the channel. Again, paddling upstream and upwind. You can see the wind. I think you can probably see the wind and potentially even hear the wind, but it is pretty stiff. With that being said, I just got to focus on paddling and get out into the lake and then look for the next portage. Oh, look at all the fishies. Okay, let's go.
After leaving those fish behind, I continue my journey up the Kingsmere River. This section of river is shallow, and the current here makes paddling somewhat difficult. Luckily, I'm not that far from the lake now. This whole route is 26 kilometers long, and split over a few days, the distance and difficulty of this paddling seems quite easy. But the closer I get to the lake, the more I can't help but notice that the wind is going to be a factor in that difficulty.
Well, I've gotten to Kingsmere Lake, and it looks pretty intense. I don't know how well you can see all those waves, all the white capping. It looks like a lot. It is quite windy. I was kind of blown over to this beach where I took a stop. So I don't really know what to say here. I would like to continue. I kind of feel like the wind is coming this way, and if I hug the shore down here, eventually I'll kind of get out of its path. And I think just because it's shallow here, the waves are breaking, it might not be as bad if I continue further. But with that being said, if I didn't say I'm a little nervous to continue, I would be lying. I think I'm gonna put my phone into my dry bag, and yeah, let's see what happens. I guess that's really all I can do. If it sucks, I will bail, but if it doesn't, I'm gonna continue. So let's go to Kingsmere Lake. I do see some people paddling out there, so that makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, let's go.
After that pep talk, I head out onto Kingsmere Lake, and it was definitely windy. There was no question about it. My goal today was to head to the campsite I booked on Bagwa Lake. In order to get to Bagwa, I had 2 other lakes to paddle, Lily and Claire. Before them, I had one more portage to do, which is where I'm headed to now. Although the more I push onto Kingsmere, the more second thoughts begin to push into my head. And then at some point my destination changed from the portage trailhead to a ranger's cabin about halfway there. I needed to pull over and reassess my situation.
Well, I pulled up to this ranger's cabin here, and there's quite a few people hanging out, hiding from the wind. So I chatted for quite a bit, and the wind seems to have tailed off. I've had reports from some guy here that the weather was supposed to get better around noon, and it's supposed to get worse until noon, and the afternoon it was supposed to switch. And I was coming here right at noon, and it is now afternoon, and I feel like it is getting better. Whether that is just this specific location or the whole lake, I do not know, but it feels like it is good enough to continue. So that's what I'm going to continue. I had a quick snack and got all the water out of my boat, and I think I'm gonna push on. So let's go.
So as soon as I got comfortable, I realized that it was in fact still windy. Very windy. Windy enough for this.
Well, I got splashed pretty good. As soon as I got out around that point, the weather looked a lot worse. The waves looked a lot worse than they did from the safety of my bay. And I think I might call it. I feel like I should call it. I do not feel confident that this weather is going to subside. And my mom would be disappointed in me if I continued. So I think I might have to live to fight another day. Especially being solo. I do not, oh my God. I'm not in a good spot right now either. Especially being solo, I think this is a good opportunity to, yeah, live to fight another day. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna go back to this little beach here, hang out for a few, and then, yeah, I think I'm just gonna head her back home. Back to the van. Oh my God, I gotta get off this beach. Well, I might as well go explore this little ranger's cabin area. And we'll go see the bay from the other side. well, a couple of the other guys that have been marooned here are going to try to push on. Personally, I do not think they're going to get that far, if I had to guess, but I get trying. I just tried myself. Hold on a second. The problem is you got to get across this bay here, which is quite windy and quite wavy. I think maybe once you get to the other side of it, you'd be in another bay and the wind wouldn't quite be as bad, but getting there is the problem. And well, personally, I decided it was not worth it. But let's see if we can see these guys. Okay, I'm officially turning around. I got my life jacket on. Everything is in the canoe and ready to go. Apparently, there is a campsite on this side that's not that far. So I may or may not stay there, or I might just book it all the way back to the beginning and sleep in the van. I'm currently undecided, but I'm just gonna get out of the water. It sucks because I have seen people go all the way through, and this side does not look bad, but it is still pretty windy and choppy on the other side. And for me, it's just not really worth it. So I'm gonna continue, go back to South End Camp, check it out, decide if I want to stay there. But yeah, gonna get this canoe in the water and get going.
Well, there you have it. I got straight humbled in Saskatchewan. I'm almost 1,800 kilometers from home, and I'm just turning around. Wild. I almost certainly could have fought through the wind like the other guys did, but what's the point? Sure, it would have been cool to paddle the Bagwa route, but ultimately, I just came here for an adventure, and an adventure was had. And this adventure does fit in with the rest of this trip. I've had so many false starts, missteps, and problems this trip. It just wouldn't be right if my first foray into Saskatchewan went according to plan. And hey, it does set me up with some unfinished business here. That should be good.
And if I spill it, it'll make for better footage.
So right after I told those strangers that I was good, they refused to take no for an answer and helped me load my canoe onto the rail car anyways. And then they promptly pushed it for the entire portage. I guess that's that famous Saskatchewan Hospitality. I want to give a huge shout out to these guys for the favor, and a big thank you to their wives who provided me with all sorts of tourist information. We all took a selfie, and then I was back to paddling. This final stretch of river went by really fast, considering we were now going with the current and I was just ready to be done, which I soon was. Then I finished off my night with a great campfire at the Narrows campsite, and I'll see you in the morning.
Well, good morning. I rolled out of camp and I was gonna go to Waskesiu and grab some breakfast and restart my day at the main beach area, figure out what I'm gonna do. But then I drove by this huge line of cars and apparently there's a swim race. So now I'm gonna go watch the swim race at Trippy's Beach. Side note, I seen two fox on the drive here, which was cool. Anyways, let's go watch the swim race.
So this swim race turned out to be the 10th annual Crown the King, a 4-kilometer swim race from Trippy's Beach around King Island and back to Trippy's Beach. This event is put on by the Prince Albert Triathlon Club, and it's the exact level of whimsy you hope to find at an event that you just stumble into.
3, 2, 1, go!
Pretty quickly, the swimmers were heading out of sight, where I realized that this wasn't the best spectator sport. Anyways, I chatted on the beach for a while, and then it was time for the winners. First from the 1.6Kers,
number 17.
And then the real 4K Crown the King champion arrives.
Congratulations, Danny. 56. That's not you.
What was it, Danny?
Aaron Reynolds from Saskatoon in a time of 57.56. Number one, happy birthday, birthday boy, 57 years old. Finished in 57 minutes. Woo! So when you're 70, you're going to be a 70-minute swimmer? Probably.
Okay, I just pulled up into town of Waskesiu, and I'm at this giant rock here. And I was talking to a guy at the beach at that swim race, and he was telling me that this rock was dragged here by glaciers back in the day, and it was just dropped in town, and that's where it sits today. Pretty sweet. Anyways, I think I'm gonna grab something for lunch. It's now lunchtime, and I'll be honest, I have a bit of a headache, so I'm gonna grab lunch and then go just chill on the beach for quite a while and see if I don't feel better.
Waskesiu here is the town site inside of Prince Albert National Park. Like Banff, but without any of the glitz and the glam. I ordered breakfast at a cafe, looked at some art, then headed to the beach to eat.
Oh yeah, I'm back to the beach after my trip to the Evergreen Cafe. And if we look in here, we got a scone, breakfast scone, I forget what it's called. Sconewich, but it's got egg, prosciutto, cheese, cheese scone, pesto. I think it'll be really good. I'm so hungry. It's really good. I went in there for an egg salad croissantwich. This egg salad was not ready. I was disappointed, but this is so good. So good.
And from here, it was just a beach day. I sat on this beach for hours. Then eventually I headed out onto this wave break to explore. From my understanding, Waskesiu Lake is a bit of a rite of passage for a Saskatchewander. A summer pilgrimage for many. And I see why. This place is beautiful. It almost makes me completely forget about yesterday's Bagwa blunder. Although I do have one more thing to do to bring this full circle.
Okay, I have moved on. I am back at Trippy's Beach, and I've decided that I am going to canoe around Kings Island. I saw those people swim around it earlier, and I had to take the canoe out and do it. It is just about sunset, so I think I'm gonna crest it and have some beautiful sunset, which will be really nice. The wind has tailed down a bit too, and it is cooler, so that is also a reason why I've waited. But with that being said, canoe is already at the water. I am probably running a little bit later than I would like to be. So that being said, let's go.
So here we go. I'm off to crown the king. This was something I didn't know about until this morning, but I've been thinking about it ever since I did. I didn't realize it at the time, but those swimmers had inspired me. I woke up today with no plan, direction, and some disappointing feelings after yesterday. But seeing those swimmers round King Island literally showed me the way. I knew this was going to be the perfect way to end my trip to Waskesiu. So here I am, living the dream and crowning the king.
Well, I have unofficially crowned the king. I pulled up here on Kings Island. The canoe is there. I was talking to a lady at the beach who was very nice. She actually gave me her name, phone number, and address and told me to stop in when I went to Saskatoon, which is where I think I'm going next. Not 100% sure. Anyways, very nice lady. She told me I should take some time to explore this island, not just go around it. But I came up here and there's a couple trails that kind of seem to end, and I am woefully underprepared. I forgot water, which was a huge mistake. It was a mistake. It's not that big of a deal. It's a 45-minute paddle. But I am thirsty. It is hot, and I did bring food, but I can't even eat it because my mouth would be super dry without water. And I don't have bear spray or anything like that, so I'm not going to explore any further. So that being said, I'm going to get back in the canoe, head back to Trippy's Beach. I think the sun is setting. I kind of feel like it'll be pretty close to when we get back. So we'll either have a nice sunset while we're canoeing or a nice sunset after. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to head back somewhere over there. Maybe further to the left. I don't really know. But let's go.
As I head out for the final time here, the sun is indeed setting, and I'm treated to a beautiful sunset paddle. This was the perfect foray into Saskatchewan for me, and I'm already glad that I came. I do have more coming from here on my big summer road trip as I'm off to Saskatoon. Until then, please like and subscribe, but for now, your newly crowned king is done.
Well, there we go. We're back at Trippy's Beach, back of the van. We have officially crowned the king, and that ends this episode. Waskesiu? I have no idea what this place is called. I'm never gonna learn. But I was blowing off the Bagwa route, crowned the king. So that's it. That's the end of this episode. Peace.